appreciate it. Welcome everyone to the 2026 Victim Rights Award ceremony. Thank you all for being here. Thrilled to be here with you in this space. My name's Lavinia. I'm the director at MOVA. And I'm going to say a couple things at the beginning and then get out of the way and let all the goodness happen. It's great to be back with you. Every year we get together and celebrate victim rights here in Massachusetts and nationally. And it's always an honor to be in the room with you all. We appreciate now more than ever how dedicated you all are and your unwavering support for survivors of violence. I know anyone who has experienced violence, all of us appreciate you, appreciate the work that you do, and appreciate the difference you make in their lives. I do want to take a moment. We're here in our house, the State House. We're joined by some elected officials, so I'm going to take a minute and acknowledge them and thank them for showing up here. We know that the House is in session doing important budget work, which I'll talk about in a minute, but doing important budget work. We know the Senate's here preparing to do their budget, so I want to thank some senators and reps for joining us and so many of our district attorney partners. We have with us Rep. Fluker-Reed, Rep. Williams, Rep. Holmes, Senator Tarr, Representative Tarr, no relation, Representative Tarski, Representative Schwartz, Representative Sangiello, Representative Wynn, Rep. Murphy, Rep. Connolly, District Attorney Sullivan, District Attorney Bryan, District Attorney Hayden. Thank you all for joining us today. We'll recognize the colleagues. I want to acknowledge our fantastic board. They will be introduced to you as we go on, but I can tell you that as a director of an organization, there's not a better board to work with. I'm grateful for them as a body, and I'm grateful for them as individual people and advocates themselves. So thank you all for all you do with us at MOVA. I'd also like to acknowledge while we're gathered here to celebrate, right? That's the point of today. We're going to celebrate the work that you do, the achievements of survivors, the difference we make every day. And also, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't acknowledge that we're facing a difficult reality with the current gaps in funding levels for victim services in Massachusetts. The demand for victim services and survivor services in Massachusetts is as high as ever, and the demand for your services is as high as ever, and the federal funding for those services does not reach the meaningful levels that we need to support the important work that you do. And the needs are a reflection of all the individual challenges survivors are facing in their community. So as we celebrate Victim Rights Month, I want you to know all of us here remain committed to advocating for solutions to mitigate those critical gaps in funding. We're hopeful and we're inspired by your partnership and advocacy, and we thank you for showing up every day with empathy, compassion, and your determination to make a difference for survivors. Today's award recipients embody the spirit of that work. They're expanding pathways for survivors to have access to the unique resources, dignity, and respect that they deserve. They show us that championing victim rights and trauma-informed advocacy is critical to all of our community that are impacted by violence. They exemplify that when we build community through meaningful partnerships and collaboration, we are stronger and survivors flourish. And they demonstrate the power of survivor-led leadership. Survivor voices are essential and must be listened to because they create meaningful changes that lead to policies and programming that meet their needs. I say it every year. If we want to know how to help survivors of violence, we need to ask them and we need to listen to their answer. We know that your work is getting harder. Survivor well-being and your well-being in this community matter to this community. You are not alone, and we stand with you in the efforts to build these communities that create spaces for survivors to heal and find the healing that they need. So, as I mentioned before, we're fighting for trust. At MOVA, we remain committed to fighting for the stable funding and tools that you need to continue meeting the needs of all survivors. We're thankful to our legislative partners, many of you are here, who are advocating tirelessly for the MOVA Trust Fund. We are seeking a state investment that will provide dedicated state funds to sustain programs, build trust with underserved communities, and expand equitable access to help. This includes programs supporting vulnerable victims and survivors disproportionately impacted by violence and those impacted by federal actions. To be very specific, the House is debating their budget, and Amendment 1704 is being considered by the House, so please contact folks before you leave today and ask them to support this important funding. Together we'll build trust, we'll build the need to sustain the important life-saving services that programs in Massachusetts provide, survivor-led, hospital-led, community-led programs that are meeting the needs of survivors across our state. 77,000 survivors in FY25. 77,000. Every victim and survivor of crime has the right to live a life that feels safe, empowered, and resourceful. So I want to thank you all for showing up today. For survivors, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for joining us today. Congratulations to this year's award recipients. I want to thank Representative Wells for coming today. And now I am honored to turn it over to the chair of our board and introduce the chair of our board, who needs no introduction, Attorney General Campbell.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. Okay. We did this last year, Jesse. We're at a celebration. Yes, times are hard, unprecedented, we heard it all. But we are here to honor people who are doing the work in the midst of some untrying times. We woke up this morning by His grace. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you, Liam, and your entire team for everything you do. It is not easy work. It's a small and mighty team, and I, on behalf of the entire board, we are grateful for you. And if you don't know it, these are folks that bring not only their professional excellence to the work and a dedication to public service, but also their own personal narratives as to why they care so deeply about the work they do. So if you don't know their stories, ask them every once in a while why they do what they do, and you will understand deeply, which we all do, why MOVA is so special, and especially special in this moment of time given the challenges they face every day. I'm also grateful, of course, to each of the elected officials who were mentioned. None of us does this work by ourselves. All of us do it in collaboration. So we are grateful to all of our elected officials who are here, including our district attorneys who work hard every single day. We appreciate each and every one of you. I want to start also, or continue also, by thanking Governor Healy for officially proclaiming April as 2026 Crime Victims Rights Month. And I think the Lieutenant Governor will come later on to read that citation and also to express gratitude on behalf of the administration. As Liam mentioned, we are fortunate, and another reason we all need to be awake today, because we live and work in the best state in the country. And sometimes I think we can forget that. And what makes us so special is the ecosystem and the people who inform the work across all types of industries every single day, including folks who do this work every single day. And so all of you are playing a really critical role in supporting, of course, not only survivors, but access to victims' rights. All of you play a crucial role in raising awareness and making a difference in the lives of the real survivors of their people. And of course, not just during April, but every month in the year. And we never take that for granted. Whether you're advocating for legislative change, amplifying survivor voices, access to services, or ensuring that no survivor is left out or left behind, we thank you. We express deep gratitude. It is all of you that keeps this movement pushing forward, and all of you who provide unwavering support for survivors by creating safe, healthy, supportive communities. You support survivor well-being. You create places not only to survive, but most importantly, to thrive after sometimes some unimaginable trauma. And when I say we support survivors, I mean all survivors. And it's sad we even have to name it. Given the immigration conversation, every conversation that is happening right now, we see the humanity in everyone we serve, and we frankly don't care what your political affiliation is. We care about the human beings who choose to live and work in Massachusetts. And if something happens to you under our watch, we will step up and most importantly support you, including victims and survivors all year long. Thank you for staying engaged. Thank you for raising awareness with us. Thank you for supporting, through an equitable, trauma-informed, and compassionate lens, services throughout our entire Commonwealth. And to those of you with lived experience in the room, and I know many of you could be honored today, you're not, maybe next year or the following, or I know there's some past recipients in this room. But those with lived experience, we hear you, we see you, we appreciate you, and we continue to invite you to be a part of the work we do every single day to ensure it actually has an impact. On behalf of the Victim and Witness Assistance Board, I want to say we stand with you and we are grateful. I also, of course, have to acknowledge my fellow board members who are here. Survivor board member Danielle Sicard could not be here today because of work obligations, but she is a survivor and she is powerful in her own right, so I want to acknowledge her even though she is not present. I want to acknowledge Attorney Anthony Glulluni, who is to my right, public Survivor board member Audrey Morrissey, who also has her own personal narrative. We are grateful for the work she does. District Attorney Michael Morrissey is also to my right. And then to my left, public board member Lavinia Weizel, who is also amazing. If you could just give them a round of applause. All of them. And I'll just end by saying this event, and I say this on behalf of the entire board, helps us to reflect as a collective community the remarkable journey that we have shared up until this point. So although it may be hard and a trying time to say the least, don't forget the progress that all of you have fought for to get us to this place. Even the Garden of Peace ceremony that we will do at some point later in the year is another example of that. So we're grateful to each and every one of you for staying focused on the things that matter the most, not getting distracted by all the noise. And let me tell you, there's a lot of noise out there. To stay focused on the work that matters, and most importantly, uplifting values we say we all share in Massachusetts. So thank you all for being here. And now, to the parts that really matter. It's not about us. It's about folks who are here with their family and friends to be honored. We are grateful to be giving these awards today. I'm going to start with the Gerard D. Downing Leadership Award. But before I do, the Downing family is here, so I would like his son, Benjamin, to come up and share a few words about his dad before we give out the award.
Thank you, General Campbell, for the opportunity. I want to thank Liam and the entire team at MOVA. It is a real honor for our family, for my dad's memory, to be connected continually to the incredible work that MOVA does, that the honorees do, and that so many of you do every single day to make your community a better place, to help our friends, our family members, our neighbors who have dealt with challenges and experiences that none of us should have to deal with in any way, shape, or form. I also want to recognize my mom, because anything my dad did, he would be the first to say he wouldn't have been able to do, but for my mom. So how about a round of applause for my mom? Just my way of trying to secure more babysitting time in East Boston versus some other locations. And, you know, my mom reminded me, and it caught me a little bit. So April's a tricky month in my family. Not just because I have a 9 and a 6-year-old who both have birthdays in April, which is its whole other thing. But my favorite picture of my brother Nate and I was at the MOVA award ceremony. Just a couple of weeks before Nate passed away suddenly. And the best part about that picture is that I'm pretty sure he was making some wise Alec remark under his breath as we were standing there. I think about something nice that was said of someone who I may have served in public office with. So there's that. There's one of my favorite memories connected to this, and to me and my brother being able to think about the work that my dad did. My dad actually would have turned 75, would have turned 75 just this past Friday, and I was thinking about that. I'm not a good negotiator. Things Mike like didn't say in the Senate too much. not the best negotiator, and I somehow got signed up to coach youth soccer for both a 6 and a 9-year-old, which reminded me of the fact my dad coached basketball every Saturday morning at the Catholic Youth Center. He is the only 5'6" man to ever have a basketball league named after him, and it was not because he was any good. But I remember one morning complaining about getting up to go coach because he made us go coach with him. And he made the point of saying, a lot of the kids who are on my team and on the team that you're coaching, I'm going to see their parents, or I'm going to see someone they know or someone in their family during the week. And we all need to be reminded that all of us are going to have challenges in life, but we all start from the same place, right? We're all flawed in our own ways. We all have our own challenges, but we all have all of these opportunities that we can make more of together. When I lost my dad and I lost my brother, a lot of people share with you different quotes of how they have tried to deal with things. And I'm admittedly fond of the Hemingway quote that the world breaks everyone, but afterward many are strong in the broken places. My dad, when he would talk about victims' rights and victims' issues, he would say that the work was about making sure that someone who had been a victim once wasn't victimized again in the process of trying to seek justice, to be made whole in some way, shape, or form. And that all of our work, as many are fond of quoting, is to try to find a way to make gentle the life of this world. And when I think about the incredible leaders like Dawn and the way that she's dedicated her career to serving victims and to building up a community and an ecosystem of support, I see a group, a community, an entire commonwealth of people coming together to not only be stronger at the broken places, but to make sure that fewer people have to use that strength, so that we can all work together to make gentle the life of this world. So, Dawn, on behalf of my entire family, it means the world to us to be connected to the incredible work that you've done. We're honored and humbled to be so connected. And to all of you, thank you for everything you have done, and thank you for everything you will do to continue to make, as the General said, Massachusetts the special place that we all know it is. Thank you very much.
Just a few more words before I invite Dawn out to receive her award she so deserves. She is the co-executive and clinical director of the Asian Task Force Against Domestic Violence, ATAS. And she has been in that role since 2010. Dawn has led direct services, grant development, and cross-sector collaborations. She has over 30 years of service. Let me say it again, over 30 years of service in social services, not just in Massachusetts, but also in Hawaii. She has supported Asian and Pacific Islander communities as a clinician, an educator, and a nonprofit leader with a warm and welcoming presence. She also serves in leadership roles on various coalitions and community initiatives, advancing policy and advocacy for our immigrant communities, our Asian and Pacific Islander communities, and so much more. Her visionary leadership and deep dedication to survivors, to Massachusetts and the Commonwealth, to the unique needs of Asian survivors of intimate partner and sexual violence has had a profound impact on countless survivors and service providers across the state. She demonstrates the principle of leadership in advancing victims' rights, not only through policy advocacy, but also by ensuring that the most impacted and those marginalized voices remain centered in all of our decision making, not just at the organization, but across the Commonwealth. She holds complexity and nuance. I'll say it again. It sounds really great, but she does it really well. She holds complexity and nuance with a deep understanding of both systemic and interpersonal violence, recognizing that we cannot end harm without also dismantling the conditions of oppression that prevent communities from flourishing in the first place. Her powerful commitment to driving meaningful systems change is among the many reasons she is receiving this award, and I am proud, along with, of course, the Downing family, and her receiving the 2026 Glulluni Downing Leadership Award. Please come up. Congratulations.
Wow. Take your time. Sorry, you're rolling. You got this. Thank you. Thank you all. Everyone's really appreciate it. I am deeply honored to receive the Gerard D. Downing Leadership Award. And to all the other awardees recognized today, it's such a privilege to be among all of you. Thank you to the Downing family, to MOVA, and to the Victim and Witness Assistance Board. Your leadership, partnership, and your commitment to ensuring that all survivors can access support truly matters. It has made a meaningful difference on our work and on the lives of the communities that we serve. At ATAS, working with Asian survivors of violence, most of whom speak limited English, we see every day what it means when systems are not built for everyone, when language becomes a barrier to safety, when culture is misunderstood, and when navigating help can feel just as overwhelming as the harm itself. But we also see what's possible when survivors are met with care that is not only trauma-informed, but culturally and linguistically grounded. In this moment, we are all navigating a reality where basic human rights are no longer guaranteed. Protections are not being applied equally, and access to safety and support has become more uncertain. Survivors are weighing the cost of leaving against the cost of staying, often choosing to remain in abusive relationships because it feels safer than risking deportation or other consequences. This reality is not new, but is intensifying. And we are seeing communities push further into the margins and identities being erased. Sorry, didn't mean to say that. In this moment, it calls upon all of us to be clear about what survivors need and to be honest about what it truly takes to ensure that they can access safety and justice. This work is not easy, but it is meaningful. And it reminds us that we're all part of something larger than ourselves. So when I think about what this award represents, I think about all of us and the work that we carry every day across nonprofits, government, community organizations, funders, and partners. This is collective work. Whether we're supporting survivors directly, shaping the systems that they rely on, or influencing the resources and decisions that make this work possible. We are all part of what makes safety, dignity, and justice real. Lastly, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the people who ground me in this work every day. I have the privilege of working alongside an incredible team at ATAS. Our board and our staff are all fierce advocates whose drive for justice is deeply inspiring. To my work partner, who I often call my work wife, thank you for being such a strong partner in this work. To my husband, to my son, who's down there, and to my daughter, sitting back third row, thank you for your support and for the sacrifices we've made so that I can do this work. Thank you again for this honor. I share it with all of you and for the people who trust us in some of the most difficult moments of our lives, of their lives.
Congratulations, Don. So I wanted to take a moment now to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Tim Driscoll, who's joined us to read the proclamation of Victim Rights Month. So I should say at the outset, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll has been a great leader in the space, working with you in the Governor's Council on domestic sexual violence and human trafficking has been a wonderful partnership, and actually real tangibles have come out of it, so thank you for your leadership there. And again, we are grateful to you and Governor Healy for all the work that you're doing and for declaring this month Victim Rights Month.
MOVA and you, Liam, as our executive director, your passion and commitment to this work has just been life-changing for so many individuals and families in Massachusetts. The governor and I are very grateful for the work that you do, the entire MOVA team, every day for individuals, children, and families championing this important work. So grateful for you. And I certainly want to say good afternoon to everyone who's here. It's nice that spring is finally sprung.
Yes.
And grateful to be in the presence of our Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, thank you. Our incredible DAs across the Commonwealth who are true partners in this work. DA Glulluni, DA Morrissey, I think DA Hayden and DA Ryan are here as well. Congrats to Senator Feeney on his recognition, and certainly to the other members of the legislature who may be here. This truly is a partnership when we think about this work and the need to make sure we're working in all sectors, at the local level with our nonprofits, certainly within our law enforcement, district attorney community, and to the many people who are in this room who do the work every single day to help ensure we can be a space and a place that really matters in the rights of our survivors. We're all gathered here today to recognize April as Crime Victims Rights Month and to honor those who are dedicated and committed to this work. It really definitely positively impacts communities. As a former mayor, it's so critical to have services in place and to recognize the needs of individuals on their worst days, and all of you do that and bring the right approach and trauma-informed care every single day. So thank you for that. As the chair of the Governor's Council to address sexual assault, domestic violence, and human trafficking, I've had the honor of working on the front lines with individuals, both survivors, organizations like MOVA, who are doing the work in Massachusetts to support those who have been impacted by violence. And certainly the one thing I think I've learned in this role is the importance of centering the people with lived experiences in the place that are delivering the work. Every day is a reminder that behind every statistics we read, there's a person with a life-changing story. And frankly, it's our responsibility as a state and as advocates to make the space to listen to those stories and to ensure that we're building systems that truly protect people and support survivors. That's why our work on the council is so important. We're always learning about what is working well and frankly sometimes what's not, and trying to address what we need to do to improve. This council includes members of the law enforcement community, individuals who work in our nonprofits, survivors. It's a broad cross-section across the entire Commonwealth. There's different regional needs in different places. We want to make sure we're listening and doing our best to work, strengthen collaboration, and ensure improvement in these areas. And to do that, frankly, we need all of you. This all-of-us approach, community partners, nonprofit organizations, government agencies, we must continue to work together and strengthen prevention efforts, make sure we've got the right safety nets in place, and support systems in every community. This truly is system work at a time when people are feeling uncertain and sometimes disconnected and straight up fear. The more that we are able to be in company with each other, the greater those opportunities will be to break down barriers and get to the heart of providing services to people in need. So now more than ever, we really need to stay focused on victim rights and advocacy. And by raising awareness, we can better support vulnerable communities and create an environment where individuals feel safe, empowered, and comfortable to come forward, break this cycle of violence that can impact so many families and so many communities. So together with our partners in public safety and human services, we're going to continue to provide the support needed to not only help survivors, but to ultimately end violence altogether in our communities. So thank you for your continued partnership. Congratulations for this year's award winners, and it's now my honor to present our official citation. So I'm not going to read this entire citation because I value everyone's time, but I do want to recognize by being here, our goal is frankly to reduce stigmas, improve collaboration, and ensure that we're celebrating the blocking and tackling of the work that goes in to keep communities safe. And so I want to recognize Crime Victims Rights Month and urge all residents of the Commonwealth to ensure that they are cognizant of this event and particularly fittingly observing it in this manner. So thank you to all of our community partners, everyone who's doing the work every day. We can't have safe, high-quality communities without you. Congratulations.
We're just telling Liam he should get some gratitude. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and of course the Governor as well. Thank you to you and your respective teams. Now moving on to the Legislative of the Year Award, it was just mentioned, Senator Paul Feeney. I'm honored to be here to present you with this award, which is so well deserved. Senator Paul Feeney, if you didn't know, because you may not live in his district, he is a Democratic state senator serving his fifth term in the Massachusetts Senate, representing the Bristol and Norfolk district. Since his election, he has displayed a steadfast commitment to focusing and advancing legislation and public policy that helps strengthen protections and services for victims and survivors. He is the lead sponsor, for example, of many things, but including of legislation to address the alarming prevalence of illicit drink spiking incidents in the Commonwealth to ensure that victims have access to necessary care and recourse. And he's filed legislation to strengthen the mandated reporting provisions in the Commonwealth related to that. He also works closely with organizations in his district, such as the Foxborough Child Sexual Abuse Awareness Committee and with New Hope, Inc. to support victims of domestic violence. He actively engages with victim advocates, service providers, MOVA, community organizations, valuing their expertise and incorporating their perspectives into meaningful legislative action. He's not just the talk, he likes to get things done. This partnership-driven leadership reflects a clear commitment to ensuring that laws and policies are informed by trauma-responsive principles and lived experiences of actual people. The Senator consistently uses his platform to elevate survivor voices, champion victim-centered policy, and promote legislation that holds systems accountable and meets the unique needs of survivors and underserved communities. He demonstrates unwavering advocacy, is always accessible along with his team. He doesn't do it by himself. And it always shows up. And I would say what I appreciate about him most, he never gets the accolades, or if he does, I don't think he really cares. He cares about service, and he cares about really delivering for real people. So congratulations, Senator, on the 2026 Legislative of the Year Award.
Thank you, General. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
General, how'd you do that? Good afternoon, everybody. Celebrate.
We're celebrating.
Right? Thank you, General. Thank you, Liam. Thank you to the board. Shout out to the incredible organization, certainly in my district. If I can speak broadly for a minute about New Hope, Inc. and the work that they do every single day. Foxborough Sexual Abuse Awareness Committee, who came together in a time of crisis and lifted up an entire community and said, we will not let that happen again here in this community, and then have since gone out to train so many people and leaders and others throughout the community, and we're trying to take that across the Commonwealth, because when we empower people to be able to lift each other up, we become a safer and stronger Commonwealth. When we empower people to be able to see what is happening in their communities and with families, then they're able to be the voice of those who need us. I feel so completely unworthy on this award today, and although I humbly accept it, when I look around this building, and I saw so many legislators coming and taking pictures earlier, this building is filled with champions. It really is. My colleagues in the House and in the Senate that do so much work to lift up victims and to do what they can to keep our community safe. I am blown away, and I just want to take a moment. I got emotional. I didn't want to do this this afternoon, but this one is personal to me. You know, in this job, and I am blessed to have the opportunity to be able to change the face of things, even if it's just for a moment in time while I serve in the Massachusetts Senate. But this one is personal to me, and it's not my story to tell. But I can tell you truthfully, and from the bottom of my heart, that there is a loved one shining down today who's proud, not just because of, you know, her son receiving this award, but because she broke the cycle. Because she took the pain and turned it into power. She broke the cycle. She empowered our family to be able to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And the strength that she had within her is something that I am just blessed to be able to talk about today. But with that being said, I know that there are so many survivors and victims, family members that are here today that are searching for that as well, searching for that justice, looking for that moment where they can take that pain and turn it into purpose. Just the fact that you are here, just the fact that you are here with each other and giving each other the grace and space to be able to do that says everything about the strength that you have within you. So even when it's difficult, even when it's challenging, I promise you that even in small moments you're making a difference. If it's with your own family and your own communities across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we bloom will be uplanted. And you are all doing that. So to the survivors, the victims, and everybody that's here today that have their own personal journey, just please know that in this building, in this Senate, in this House, we see you, we hear you, and we thank you for making a difference. And with that, I just want to say, you heard the General talk about the work that we've been engaged in around drink spiking, the work that we've been engaged in around domestic violence and sexual abuse. The bills that we write and the policy that we try to enact doesn't just happen because one of us gets a bright idea. It comes because you all step up and advocate and say, you know what? I want to tell you my story. And nothing moves public policy like hearing your stories, like sharing your journeys. That is where we knew that we had to act. When we heard the stories of people in our district across Massachusetts, when we heard from MOVA, when we heard from the Attorney General, when we heard from the DAs, when we heard from law enforcement, when we heard from families that said, Senator, we're facing these issues, we need you to act. We were able to go to work, not just because, we're up here with all the greatest ideas, it's because you empower us to be able to do so. So use today's words and today's celebration as a call to action to continue that work. Please, I know it's not easy sometimes. I know that we are in rough shape politically when you look around, but understand, I had a mentor of mine for many years who said, Feeney, in times of crisis, you can get bitter or you can get better. Bitter is easy. I get it. Bitter is easy. But when we wake up every day and say, what can I do? What moments can I take to get better? That's when we become a stronger Commonwealth. And because of all you, we're getting better. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator. You heard it. Don't get bitter. At least don't stay bitter. Get better. This is my final presentation, and I'm honored to have my last presentation before turning over to other board members to do the Public Policy Award. This next award, the Public Policy Award, recognizes a survivor of crime who has transformed, this is why it's a perfect following, who has transformed their experience of victimization into impactful change through promoting legislation or advocating for policy changes that further the rights and services to fellow victims and survivors. Susan Altman. Susan is a survivor advocate who has transformed profound personal loss into sustained public policy impact. After her sister Stacy Feldman was murdered in 2015 in Denver, Colorado, Susan was thrust into a criminal justice process that exposed critical gaps in how domestic violence homicides, particularly staged crime scenes, are understood and investigated. Stacy's cause of death was initially ruled undetermined, and Susan began a years-long campaign to have the investigation kept open, resulting in a charge against Stacy's husband for murder. Following the 2022 conviction of Stacy's husband, Susan emerged as a leading voice in national conversations on coercive control, hidden homicide, and victim-centered reform. Determined that no other family would and should face the same barriers, Susan worked with Senator Rebecca Rausch to introduce Senate Bill 2743, an act addressing staged suicides, legislation designed to honor victims of domestic violence and strengthen justice for their families. The bill advances improved law enforcement training and enhances investigative protocols in death cases involving a history of domestic violence. Through courage and persistence, Susan has bridged lived experience, painful loss, and policy reform. I am proud, along with my entire board members, to present Susan with the 2026 Public Policy Award, and by extension, her mom, who is sitting next to her, who doesn't have a hair out of place, young and fabulous, and her entire family, her daughter, her whole family's here. You'll meet them, I'm sure. But congratulations, all of us does this work, we know, in partnership, especially with family, when it involves family loss. So congratulations, Susan, to you and to your family.
Not as easy as we thought, huh? Thank you, Senator Roush and Representative Tarski. I don't know if you're here, but thank you for the presentation and the citation that you gave me earlier today. Thank you to my family and friends who have supported me through all of my work. I'm deeply humbled and honored to receive this Public Policy Award. It's been my privilege to partner with Journey to Safety, a MOVA-funded program, and to use every opportunity to share the journey I've been on since the murder of my younger sister, Stacy, in 2015. Thank you also to my friends at Journey to Safety for nominating me for this award. I've been on this journey since Stacy was murdered in 2015. More than 10 years later, here we are, and these senseless killings are still happening. In the United States alone, I know I don't have to tell you all this, 3 to 4 women are killed every day by an intimate partner. In the United States, 3 to 4 women are killed every day by an intimate partner. I know men get killed as well by their partners, but today I'm focusing on women. As you heard, Stacy was murdered by her husband, who staged the scene to make it appear as though she had slipped and fallen in the shower. He was so convincing that law enforcement initially believed him. He even attempted to prevent an autopsy for religious reasons. Fortunately, in Colorado, an autopsy is standard protocol when a healthy 44-year-old woman is found dead in her home. That protocol made all of the difference for our family. While my sister's 2 young children, just 7 and 8 years old at the time, were celebrating at the Purim Carnival at Sunday school, she was at home being strangled and suffocated by the man she had been married to for nearly 10 years. It took 3 years for him to get arrested. 3 years that he had those children in the home without letting them speak to us. He was finally arrested for first-degree murder. That only happened because I refused to let her case go. My family, my friends, told me to stop. Stop fighting. You're never going to get justice. They messed up at the crime scene. They didn't investigate. They didn't do what they needed to do. Law enforcement, the justice system is not going to be on our side. I refused to heed their advice. I called the detective every week, and I called the prosecutor once a month. Finally, 7 years after he killed her, he stood trial. He paid for his private defense by her life insurance money. $750,000 he got from her life insurance, and he paid his attorney to represent him. Throughout that time, our victim advocate, Kirsten, and here's a shout out to Kirsten in Denver, Colorado, I'm still in touch with her today, she made the extraordinary difference for my family. From from preparing Stacy's daughter as a sophomore in high school to be a witness for the defense because the prosecution decided not to call her and put her through that trauma. Kirsten protected us at the courthouse. She helped us endure a 3-week trial, and she was a constant source of strength and support. I have the deepest respect for victim advocates, you all that are in the room today, that show up every day for families like mine. On April 19th, 2022, at the end of the trial, as I watched the murderer walk through the hidden door in the courtroom, and you all know the door I'm talking about, I made a commitment to work towards change in a system that too often fails to protect people, especially women, from violent partners. In this work, I have learned about coercive control and staged homicides. Too often, intimate partner homicides are misrepresented as accidents or suicides, and full investigations don't take place, and the murderers walk free. That's why I partnered with the Alliance for Hope International and Senator Roush to advance legislation to address staged crime scenes and strengthen protections for victims and families. Bill S-2743 has been filed, and I recently had the privilege to testify before the Joint Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. I look forward to the day that this bill becomes law, so families in Massachusetts don't have to endure what my family did. This award is not just for me. It's for Stacy, whose shoes I wear today. It's for her children, and it's for every single family seeking justice and truth. I will continue this work until our systems value their lives enough to protect them. Thank you very much.
Thank you to your family. Congratulations to all the recipients. And now I'd like to turn it over to DA Glulluni, who will continue the presentations.
Good afternoon. I'm Hampton District Attorney Anthony Glulluni, and I'm honored to be here. Honored to be a member of the MOVA Board of Directors. I'm honored to be a district attorney, and I'm honored to fight with many of you for the rights and justice for victims and survivors across the Commonwealth. I have the honor of presenting the next award, which is the Access to Justice Award. I want to thank Attorney General Campbell for her leadership in the introduction. The Access to Justice Award recognizes a service provider whose leadership and outreach efforts have made victim rights and services more accessible, more readily available to underserved populations. I'm honored to present this year's Access to Justice Award to Laura W. Gow.
Laura is a managing attorney of the Family Law Unit at Greater Boston Legal Services, where she oversees a team of 20 advocates engaged in trial and appellate court litigation, community outreach, and systemic advocacy. In this role, Laura leads efforts in ensuring that survivors of domestic violence and low-income families have meaningful access to legal representation in family law matters. She has played a central role in advancing access to counsel in child welfare matters, following key Supreme Judicial Court decisions, closing justice gaps for individuals who cannot afford an attorney as well. Laura is deeply invested in her community, serving on multiple commissions and boards, and advocating throughout her career for increased access to justice for families. Her work includes improving court processes, promoting trauma-informed practices, cultural responsiveness, and ensuring that family law systems do not further harm survivors. Her leadership has strengthened Greater Boston Legal Services' ability to serve marginalized communities and to build meaningful partnerships with community-based organizations. Her work has created accessible pathways for survivors who are often excluded from traditional legal systems. By advancing access to counsel in high-stakes family law and guardianship cases, Laura helps to prevent further traumatization of survivors. Laura's leadership reflects a deep understanding that access to justice requires more than just courtroom representation. It's for all these reasons that I am proud to present Laura W. Gal with this year's Access to Justice Award. Laura?
Thank you, Attorney General Campbell, and all of the members of the Victim Assistance Board. I am deeply honored to be among this year's MOVA awardees and a little overwhelmed. I also want to say thank you to Siobhan Williams for nominating me. It's especially wonderful to be up here knowing that you are the one who made the time and was kind enough to nominate me. I also want to thank the entire MOVA team, who is very supportive in the back room every day, making sure that we can do this incredibly important work. And I want to thank everybody here in the audience who has taken time out of your very, very busy days to celebrate a few of the many, many of us who do this important work with and on behalf of victims of violence. We are a terrific team together. I am part of an amazing team of advocates at Greater Boston Legal Services, as you heard, and we together are part of an equally amazing network of organizations that are MOVA supported across the Commonwealth. Together, we make this work possible. You will hear some familiar themes in the few words that I want to share. I think that they are important and are central to the work that we do. My father saw them. When I told my parents about this award, my dad commented on how lucky I am that my work is effective and also that it is appreciated. And I agree with him. I feel very lucky. I also think that being effective and appreciating others and being appreciated is core to the domestic violence response community and is part of what makes our work sustainable and effective. We appreciate the varied skills that each of us brings and the experiences that each of us brings to the work. That includes legal skills and language skills, safety planning, counseling, cultural competency, lived experience, and the list goes on from there. And because we appreciate this in one another, we understand how we are much more effective when we collaborate and act as a team and a network rather than as individual dots on a map of service providers. That is what makes our success possible, and that is what makes doing this very difficult work sustainable. So thank you to everybody that I do this work with. Before I go, I also want to note, as others have, that appreciation of survivors and their experiences is also central and critical to the work that we do. And I want to note that I saw this beautifully on display at a community event celebrating, or perhaps more marking, Denim Day this weekend. The event was sponsored by the Museum of Soul Survivors, which is a community group led by Siobhan Williams. And at this event, we recognized the experiences of survivors, affirmed the value of each of the individuals there, and celebrated several examples of survivors finding power within themselves and using that power for good to help others around them. And that is something that we've been hearing about and seeing here today, too. And when I read the bios of my fellow awardees, I saw examples among them. And to my fellow awardees, I want to say that I've read and learned a little bit about the work that each of you does, and I am anew in my inspiration, and I am so very, very thrilled to be among your good company today. Two extra things before I sit down. One is that if you don't already know what Denim Day is, I encourage you to look it up and to get out your denim, because tomorrow is the official Denim Day for 2026. And finally, I want to say thank you to my husband who is here, because if I didn't have him and my family to go home to every day, this work would be a whole lot harder. Thank you.
I've been given a note, a very important one, because he's from Springfield. Representative Carlos Gonzalez is also here to show his support for victims and survivors in the Commonwealth.
Watching you.
There you are. There you are. You guys from Springfield. Okay.
Invite everybody to the pancake breakfast.
To present a couple special recognition awards. It's one award to two people doing shared work. The Special Recognition Award recognizes a survivor of crime who has transformed their experience of victimization into a positive change, healing, and leadership through promoting rights and services for victims and survivors. I am honored to present this Special Recognition Award, actually plural, to both Denise Cosby and Faye Rackley. Denise and Faye are co-founders of the Just-in-Time Initiative, a Boston area organization providing healing, support, and education to families affected by homicide and community violence. Denise's son, Justin D.C. Cosby, was tragically murdered at Harvard University in May 2009. And Denise transformed her grief into action by creating a space that bridges gaps, critical gaps, in fact, for homicide survivors. Faye's grandson, Kenneth K. Rackley, was murdered in 2010 at the age of 19. And Faye channeled her pain into creating a healing community where no family faces their loss alone. Alongside their parents and family members of other murdered children, they developed a core insight that shapes Just-in-Time's philosophy. Not one stands alone. By creating programming that celebrates the lives of those lost, the Just-in-Time Initiative validates that healing doesn't mean forget. Denise and Faye have built a community serving over 2,000 members. Their services transcend traditional grief counseling models. Just-in-Time Principles is a framework that emphasizes learning, courage, and honoring memories while moving through trauma. Denise and Faye co-facilitate bi-weekly virtual support meetings that combine educational programming with peer support. Their community-first approach creates genuine healing spaces that honor grief and healing, particularly for those communities historically underserved by traditional victim services. For these reasons, they are both receiving a special recognition award. Congratulations, Denise and Faye.
I'm one of the co-founders of Just-in-Time Initiative. Just-in-Time Initiative is an organization that are there for families that have lost their loved ones to homicide, to try to uplift and to try to put the pieces back together. I lost my grandson, Kenneth Keith Rackley, July 25th, 2010, to homicide. It was such a great loss to the family and the community. I would like to thank MOVA for thinking of me, for doing the work that I do for Just in Time Initiative. I'd like to thank everyone here for coming out and the State House for having us here to award me with an award for the work that I am doing. And I will continue to do this work. And I just want to say that not one stands alone.
I am truly honored and deeply grateful to receive this special recognition award from the Massachusetts Office of Victims Assistance. Thank you for seeing the work that the Just in Time Initiative, and more importantly, for valuing the lives and stories behind our work. This award is not just about me or Faye. It represents every family who has experienced the unimaginable pain of losing a loved one to violence. It represents the strength it takes to wake up each day and keep going, even when your heart feels broken. It represents a commitment to turn our pain into purpose. When my son Justin was taken from me at the young age of 21, my life changed forever. My heart broke into a million pieces. Justin had a smile that could light up anyone. A spirit that drew people in, and a future full of purpose and promise. Losing him left a void that can never be filled. But through the loss, I made a decision that his life would continue to matter, that his name would stand for something, and that no other family should feel alone in their grief. That is how the Just in Time Initiative was born. Our mission is simple but powerful: to support survivors of homicide, to provide resources, and to bring hope into moments that feel hopeless. We meet people at some of the darkest hours and times of their lives, and we remind them that they are not alone, that their pain is seen, their voices are heard, their voices matter, and healing, while difficult, it is possible. This work is not easy. It requires compassion, patience, resilience, but it also brings moments of connection, strength, and even joy. When someone finds their voice again, when a family feels supported, when a life begins to be rebuilt. I share this award with my co-founder, our supporters, our community partners, and every person who has stood beside us in this journey. And I dedicate it to my son, Justin Cosby, and Faye's grandson, Kenneth Rackley, and to all the lives that were lost too soon. Their stories live on through us. Again, thank you for this honor. Thank you for believing in this work, and thank you for inspiring us and helping us continue to turn tragedy into purpose and pain into progress. Thank you.
You're almost done with me. A couple wonderful awards and great honorees. I now welcome my fellow board member, Lavinia Weizel, to the podium to present the next award. Lavinia.
Good afternoon, everyone. As DA Glulluni said, my name is Lavinia Weizel. I am so deeply honored to be here with each and every one of you today. And I am especially lucky that I am here to present the Innovation Award. The Innovation Award recognizes an individual survivor, service provider, agency, or organization who has helped to develop an innovative program or policy that helps crime victims. I'm proud to present 2 Innovation Awards this year to Karen Hoffman and Catalina Folk from Reach Beyond Domestic Violence. Karen is an attorney and longtime volunteer from Reach. She is a member of the Needham Domestic Violence Action Committee and a former member of the Needham Human Rights Committee. She was also a member of the Needham Education Foundation, Needham Steps Up, and other groups related to social justice. Catalina is Director of Children, Families, and Group Services at Reach and was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia. Catalina brings cultural humility and deep gratitude to her work, especially in service to immigrant communities. Together, Karen and Catalina demonstrate how advocacy and legal expertise can be intentionally integrated to improve outcomes for crime victims and survivors. Karen and Catalina co-developed and co-facilitate an integrated support group model to assist domestic violence survivors who are experiencing post-separation legal abuse. In this program, Karen and Catalina walk alongside domestic abuse survivors and provide training and education about the legal system. This innovative program offers survivors holistic legal advocacy support that is rarely available in traditional legal or counseling programs alone. Karen and Catalina's professional and lived experiences have directly informed the development of this innovative and transformative initiative. Together, their careers reflect meaningful contributions to the anti-domestic violence field and sustained dedication to supporting adult and child crime victims and survivors. Their innovative and interdisciplinary approach to empowering survivors is among the many reasons they are each receiving the Innovation Award this year. Congratulations to Karen and Catalina.
Catalina and I would like to thank MOVA, General Campbell, for this incredibly meaningful award, and congratulations to all the other recipients today. We'd also like to thank the incredible advocates and interns at Reach Beyond Domestic Violence for their assistance and support as we have been developing and continuing this program. And I would personally like to thank Catalina. Catalina is an extraordinary clinician and human being, and it was her vision to develop this unique therapeutic group on focusing on post-separation abuse and to include me in such an innovative program. I am deeply grateful and so honored to be part of helping survivors. So thank you.
Thank you. I didn't prepare, but I was listening to all the stories today, and I could just think that I work with the children every day. And what motivated me to reach out to Karen and to create this group is, for example, we have a support group for children, and when we do our family session, we have this activity where we make drawings of the house of worries, the house of dreams. And in the house of worries, I listen over the years. I worry about my mom crying at night. I listen to my mom crying. My caregiver is crying, is sad. And so it was very clear to me that to support the healing for the children, we needed to support the caregivers that were going through separation, post-separation abuse. So it was just wonderful to see all of it coming together, and I appreciate all the support and Jeff CS giving us information and guiding us how we could do a group like that. They have a similar one, so it is lovely when we can all work together. And thank you to her with the most humble and amazing attorney. We love our group, and I hope other organizations can provide something like that.
We're very fortunate. We get to work with some very talented community people every day. But that work couldn't be done without the support of what you're finding out today is a pretty vast network of individuals, groups, and organizations that actually help us do the great work that has to be done in the area of protecting survivors and victims. So as part of that, is the corporate leadership would recognize a business organization or individuals from a discipline outside the victim assistance field for their dedication to support crime victims and advancing the victim services community. The allied professionals are committed to innovative approaches to ending violence and supporting those impacted by it. I wanted to present the award to Beth Israel Leahy Health, a healthcare system that has been a Massachusetts sexual assault nurse examiner site, SANE for many of you that know, for 30 years, and one of the first hospital-based sexual and domestic violence programs to support survivors of sexual and domestic violence in the Commonwealth. The team at Beth Israel Leahy Health has displayed exceptional leadership and working in partnership with the Massachusetts SANE program, the Mass Hospital Association, and the Victims Compensation Division of MOVA. Alongside these partners, the Community Working Group are representatives from several large hospital systems. They led that process of finding a way to dispense a full course of preventative medication to survivors of sexual assault violence who visit the emergency room before they even leave the hospital. The initiative was implemented in all 11 of the hospitals that have emergency departments, thereby reducing significant privacy and economic barriers for sexual violence survivors. It assumes upfront cost and it eliminates the need for survivors to visit a pharmacy after trauma or sexual assault, providing emotional relief and reducing further traumatization. This survivor-centered and trauma-informed innovation is a result of Beth Israel Leahy's dedication to supporting crime victims, and we're proud to present this award to Beth Israel Leahy Health Systems.
Running from the back row, you need to project, right? I'll do my best. So I'm Rob Fields, I'm the Chief Medical Officer for Beth Israel Leahy Health. It's my pleasure to accept the Corporate Leadership Award on behalf of our institution. Across BILH, in every care setting, we feel the responsibility and privilege of caring for people in their most vulnerable moments. But that responsibility and privilege is even more acute for patients that are experiencing violence, assault, and trauma. We have a unique moment in these instances to go beyond just treating the immediate injury. We have an opportunity to prevent future harm, to reduce re-injury, reduce trauma, and address many other unmet crucial needs. And a great example of this can be seen in the work done through the team at the Center for Violence Prevention and Recovery at BAMC, which for over 30 years has been providing access to trauma-informed care for victims of violence, domestic abuse, and sexual assault. And I'm especially thankful to receive this award to highlight the importance of providing victims of sexual assault access to medications that will help prevent HIV infection. And it's a particular privilege that I get to work with people like Chris Fisher, who's the chair of emergency medicine at Mount Auburn, and John Marshall, who can't be here today. He's the vice president for clinical pharmacy. They both decided this is the right thing to do, we're just going to do it. They didn't ask people like me, they just did it because it's the right thing to do. And they didn't just do it at Mount Auburn, they did it everywhere. All of our hospitals to make sure that these patients have access to all their medications before they leave at no cost. They don't have to deal with that stress. And they just followed their heart and did the right thing, which is awesome. So it's a privilege. Receiving these preventive medications in the ER immediately following assault increases a victim's chances of starting and completing their course of treatment. We see that access in the emergency room also helps with eliminating barriers such as cost and access, especially after a traumatic event. Now, in each and every emergency room across Bethesda-Lahey, we provide PEP to victims leaving the emergency room with the full course, post-exposure prophylaxis, and hopefully preventing an HIV complication on top of what is obviously a terrible situation. So thank you, Chris and John, for the courage and initiative to ensure that all of our EDs are able to provide the same level of support to their patients in a safe, protected, and dignified environment. And while I'm up here, I want to congratulate Chelsea Davies in the back, a social worker at BIDMC, who is later receiving the Advocate of the Year award. Chelsea, thank you for your tireless work and your heart. And thank you to all of the social workers and counselors here today. The work that you do is hard, and we're grateful for the unwavering compassion you bring every day into every patient. So on behalf of all of us at Bethesda-Lahey, thank you again to the Massachusetts Office of Victim Assistance for your partnership in this work and for this important recognition. Thank you so much.
Some of the most difficult and high-profile cases, and we have another one that's actually brewing now, which I won't get into. But Stephen has worked to inform and enforce victims' rights in some of the most complex and difficult cases over his 15 years as a victim witness advocate. He's unwavering in his dedication to providing access to victim rights and helping victims and survivors find strength and empowerment in the process. Stephen is an invaluable witness advocate. Advocate for survivors of homicide as he walks alongside them in the aftermath of a crime as they simultaneously navigate the grief process. This past year, Stephen provided victim witness assistance on a complex, high-profile, media-intensive homicide case. He remained centered on family and witness needs while being directly exposed to additional layers of complexity associated with the case, and some of that were personal attacks. But again, I don't want to take away from the great work that he does. Stephen displayed professionalism and commitment to the victim witness advocate role, showed up every day as a refuge to individual family members and witnesses. He reminded us that it's essential that victims and survivors have a meaningful role in the criminal justice process, and they are treated with dignity and respect at every stage of the process. It's my privilege to present this award, Advocate of the Year, to Stephen Nelson.
Recipient of this award. First and foremost, I'd like to thank MOVA for recognizing me for this special award. To MOVA and the entire board, thank you for the continuous work you do to support victim services. I'd also like to thank DA Michael Morrissey
and Kristen Collins. Kristen is the Director of the Services Unit at Norfolk DA's office, and she's one who nominated me for this award, so thank you, Kristen. I'd also like to recognize those who are here today, several colleagues, friends, family members, thank you. Your support means the world to me, so thank you very much. For the past 15 years, I've had the privilege of walking alongside victims and families during the most painful and uncertain moments of their lives. I sat with parents who have lost children, children who have lost parents, survivors who have endured trauma that no one should ever have to experience, while all are trying to navigate a system that can feel overwhelming and intimidating. My role has never been to erase their pain, because we can't. It's been to listen. It's been to explain. It's been to stand beside, to make sure their voices are heard when they feel powerless, to remind them that they're more than a case number. They are people with stories, people with pain, with strength, and with dignity. There have been days filled with heartbreak, days where the weight of someone else's grief feels almost too heavy to carry. But there have also been moments of extraordinary courage. I have witnessed victims and witnesses testify with incredible strength. I have watched families support one another through unimaginable loss. It is those moments that makes this work so rewarding. It is seeing someone regain a sense of control. It is hearing, "Thank you for being there." It is knowing that in a justice system that can sometimes feel cold and procedural, compassion still has a place. Advocacy is about presence. It's about showing up consistently, patiently, and with empathy. It's about honoring each person's experience and understanding that justice looks different for everyone. Sometimes justice is a verdict. Sometimes it is simply being believed. I also want to recognize my colleagues and partners in law enforcement, prosecution, counseling, and community services. This work is never done alone. It takes a team committed to treating victims with respect and humanity. I am proud to work alongside professionals who understand that advocacy is essential to justice, and I am grateful to be proud of it. Thank you again for this incredible honor.
At the end of this year, I retired. I just want to thank the board, and the board members I work with, some of the staff that I'm sure you can work with. But it's my pleasure to introduce a real champion and someone who I respect, and I can't think of a more passionate individual that stands up for the rights of victims than my good friend, Audrey Morrissey.
Congratulations, everybody. It's just an honor and a privilege to be here. And listen, for me, I've been around a long time. Over 23 years. And I consider myself an allyship expert. And I want to acknowledge Liam and his staff for being allies in a movement that is so hard, right? All of the different work that you all are doing, and to know that MOVA sees you, funds you. No, seriously. We have passion, but the work we do costs money, right? To serve the people that we want to serve. And when I tell you in this climate that we are in, that I see the heartbreak in Liam and his staff when they're not getting the money that you all deserve to continue the work that you're doing. That's passion. That's allyship. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Attorney General Campbell. Oh, darling. She speaks Japanese too, I found that out not too long ago. I just need to say this. Thank you for your leadership on this board. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored. None of us could do this work without that. It goes hand in hand. So right now, I am honored to present the next Advocate of the Year award to Chelsea Davies. Yes. Chelsea has been a clinical social worker and advocate at the Center for Violence Prevention and Recovery at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center since 2018. In her current role, she specializes in supporting persons impacted by domestic violence, sexual violence, community violence, homicide, and human trafficking. She worked with survivors immediately after they've been harmed to address acute safety concerns and stabilization needs. Chelsea also works with survivors who are engaged in therapy to support their longer-term healing goals and provides training for medical providers and trauma-informed care spaces. Chelsea displays unwavering commitment to helping survivors navigate complex needs in the most challenging circumstances and employs an equitable and multidisciplinary approach. She is described as a North Star, empowering survivors and listening intently to their needs as she supports them through their unique healing journey. Chelsea is respected by her colleagues as compassionate, resourceful, and for displaying exceptional grace. Intentionality and advocacy is in times of crisis. Every survivor Chelsea assists is met with dignity and respect. And it is for all these reasons that I am proud to present the Advocate of the Year Award to Chelsea Davies.
This is not like my day job, so this makes me nervous. Thank you to MOVA and to all of the Victim Rights Month activists for this recognition and for creating such a special day to celebrate here together. Thank you, Beth Israel Lavinia Health, for your partnership. Congratulations to you and to all of the other incredible award recipients doing such meaningful work. It's so clear that this work would not be possible without so many different voices coming together. In my very first job out of college, I worked for a local child services organization in the South End, and in partnership with Boston Public Schools, taught social emotional curriculum at a middle school in West Roxbury. Whether it was because I was a flailing 21-year-old desperate to find meaning, or because the universe was always going to find a way to get me here anyway, I can't be sure, but the fundamental training at that job has stuck with me to this day. Most notably, the concept that a person is a person through other persons. A phrase I often repeat to myself now, over a decade later, highlighting our shared humanity, community, mutual care, dignity, and the importance of safe relationships with others. These are the tenets upon which I strive to build my clinical practice, now as a social worker, meeting daily with individuals impacted by multiple forms of interpersonal trauma and violence. This work, by nature, is not done in isolation, not for advocates and not for survivors. As we know, interpersonal wounds heal with interpersonal remedies. Thank you to my incredible team at the Center for Violence Prevention and Recovery of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, many of whom are here celebrating alongside me today. When things feel particularly hard, the
are the first people I turn to for motivation. Thank you to the hundreds of clients throughout the years who have trusted me to be a part of their journey, to accompany them through stress, through fear, and times of uncertainty, who gave me the honor of both witnessing the unthinkable and also taking in their resiliencies vicariously. Thank you to the dozens of other advocates who have reached out to congratulate me since this award was announced. I apologize to the JDI listserv. It is always inspiring to see all of the innovative work that folks are engaging in. And thank you to my husband, who helps support the parts of me that bring the work home. Today, I'm planning to savor, because none of us do that enough, and then I'm planning to get back to it. So, to make sure that we can all sustain vital victim services in the state of Massachusetts, my parting words are please encourage your legislators, some of whom are in this very building today, so we'll meet with them before you leave, to support the trust line amendment number 1704. Thank you.
And she is celebrated as having been a beacon of light for staff at the Northwestern District Attorney's Office. Lori's leadership is rooted in grace, commitment, and victim-centered advocacy, and the ability to combine empathy with knowledge of the impacts of trauma. Lori has paved the way for countless survivors to feel seen and heard, and where healing can begin and hope is within reach. With patience as her guiding principle and with external optimism, she has positively impacted the lives of victims in the aftermath of crime. Lori has served the same rural community for 32 years, understanding how to meet survivors' unique needs and how to reduce barriers to essential resources. Her unparalleled advocacy for her community and for victims' rights are among the reasons I am so proud to present Lori with the Advocate of the Year Award, and would like to wish her a great big congratulations on her retirement. Dedication to justice and profound empathy for victims has work and commitment of advocates in the field lead to the introduction of crucial new support systems. The work we do is not easy, and it can take a toll on your heart through the years. We stand with victims every day, and we hear their pain, their fears, their concerns. But we do this because of the positive impact it can have on just one person's life. So when the job feels like the weight is heavy, just remember that you're part of a team of advocates who have fought tirelessly to ensure that every victim is treated with dignity, respect, and compassion. The most profound moments in my career weren't always found in the courtroom. They were found in the quiet moments that I've shared with survivors. Years later, I've crossed paths with survivors in my state community who have stopped me to let me know that our work together is helping them through the most difficult times in their lives. You don't always realize the lasting impact that you have. Sometimes you only hear about it long after. It's moments like these that stay with you, and I realized that for every person who told me they had an impact, there were so many people that I could probably never have. Especially so when the days get hard and you feel like you're not making a difference, your impact is wider and deeper than you ever know. And I want to thank you all for your dedication and your passions to your work. And it's been an honor to meet you all.
Audrey. Just how about another round of applause for all our I get to come to a lot of events here at the State House, and I truly believe year after year, and I feel this way too, General, that this is the most moving event each year, and in large part because of you, your words, your stories, your experiences. And it not only makes this room better, but you make our work better and broadly our world better. So thank you for the part you play in that in our community. I'm going to echo Audrey, and if you'll indulge me for a moment, I do want to take a moment to thank some special folks to us. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Lisa McHugh, the director of the and the MOVA team entirely, whether it's they're volunteering today, checking people in, whether they're grant managers, grant program coordinators, talking with you about your programs, doing our training or whatever. I am so lucky to work with an amazing, amazing group of people. And so I'm just thrilled and just wanted to take that moment to thank them as well. Thank you, Representative Cruz, for showing up. Good to see you. And you've done a great thing with Thanks for being here, sir. So I did want to say, if you want to learn more about the awards recipients, all their bios, all the good information about what makes them so great and why they show up every day to do their work, not to get paid great, but they just do really good work. You can go to the digital program book, or you can look on our website, and you can find out more about the trust line there too, if we piqued your interest today. So we're wrapped up. It's like 3:05. We're only 5 minutes late. You all stayed. Thank you. And feel free to use the great singing cue points for pictures. Thank you.